If you are a painting contractor, you've probably been told, or maybe you've thought, I just need to find an all-in-one system that manages everything for me. And this is a very normal thought to think. And in fact, you are correct. That is what you need when you're below $2 million. But as you start to approach $1 to $2 million in revenue, you'll start to realize that the systems like a GoHighLevel or DripJobs or these Jobber, Job Nimbus, House Call Pro, they start to break down under the needs and the requirements of painting in particular, because things just get more complicated. And it might work for you if you have one offering, like you do exterior repaints and you're in a huge metro market and it can support that. But it really just starts breaking down. And I had a viewer reach out to me. His name's Jamie from Three Rivers, and he was explaining, like, he's a self-proclaimed tinkerer. He likes building stuff. He was watching videos on Airtable. He stumbled across my content, and he had scaled from nothing to $50,000 a month in 90 days. And he's just a very growth-minded entrepreneur. And so we sat down, and he was showing me stuff that he's built. I was walking through our PaintOS Airtable base, and I thought this was just a great conversation, kind of looking under the hood of the complexity that happens inside of $1 million company without the all-in-one limitation. So when we work with companies that are scaling past 4, 5, 10, 15 million in revenue, you start to see that there are specific things that you need to be able to do, and you need better tools for the operators in your business to use. And so this was just a conversation. I'm sharing my screen. We're talking back and forth. He's discussing the issues that he's had. So if you have watched any of my videos on Airtable, or you've looked at other videos on Airtable and you've been trying to customize an Airtable base for your company, this is a perfect conversation for you. You're going to get a lot of value out of the things that Jamie's bringing up. And I kind of dive in and explain how is our PaintOS base set up. So hopefully you find that interesting. And let me know if there's other aspects of the base that you'd like me to show in more detail. But without further ado, let's get into this conversation with Jamie from Three Rivers. Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
All good. So you're getting into Airtable. That's exciting.
Yeah, I took your advice and I looked into it and I tried to wrap my head around it. It took a minute,
How long have you been working on it?
Oh, like this last week.
Okay. That's not too long.
Yeah. Well, I used the AI tool to build it.
Oh, yeah.
And then once you see it built, you start understanding it more.
Yeah, totally.
I clearly, watching your stuff, I see how much you can do that I have no idea, like interfaces and things like that, where it looks like an app.
Yeah.
So I'm not there yet at all, but I was trying to build something out that would work, and then it's over my head.
I also have questions, like if you want to kind of go through discovery to see what type of stuff I ask people, I can do that too. What makes sense to you?
What I was, in a wild, perfect world, what I was hoping to get from you. And then you can tell me. So in the future, as I get bigger and I call you and I say, hey, man, I'm ready for you, I would like to have already been on Airtable. I would like to be using a bare bones version of some of the things that you can do and already know how it works, already be utilizing it to the best that I can utilize it. I don't even mean to the best, because the best would still require probably some significant help. So I just meant, like, I don't know if you have like a partial best practices and like a skeleton version of a workflow for someone, much, much smaller. Not only am I not going to utilize what a big player, a $4 million plus company would use. I understand that's your proprietary information and that's what you do for people. That's how you work. But on my way there, if you, like, you were on Miro on one year, I use that if I go on Fiverr and I'm working with a guy in Pakistan, like I build that and say, this is what I'm looking for, like GoHighLevel when it's building that out, right? So I don't know if there's like a mini version of starter kit for heading in the direction of what your bigger companies use, something, and I could build it myself. If just kind of like just a 15%, 20% of what you do big time.
So it's interesting that you say that, because so right now this is the thing that I don't like about Airtable. Is the reality is that because you can customize it a gazillion permutations of there's so many ways you can make it your own. It's like having a Google Sheet. If someone else built a really cool Google Sheet template, you can't just like, I mean, you can transfer and like copy and paste data from yours to the other one, but you can't just be like upgrade mine to the next thing or to like the better template. But you could go through and like copy all the data page by page. But it's like 10 times more complicated with Airtable because you've got all these linked record relationships and stuff that you can build. And so basically, when someone's on Airtable in one that they made or bought or created like through Upwork or whatever, at the end of the day, if you're going to use like the what we've called PaintOS Boolean,
Mm-hmm.
which was like 3 iterations of like trial and error, and then we've settled on this one. At the end of the day, it's still going to be like we would treat it like a migration from another CRM essentially, even though it still is Airtable, to PaintOS. The good news though is that someone that's in Airtable is getting familiar with customizing it and making it your own. Because that's even with the PaintOS template that we've created, part of working with us is like we're trying to encourage the painting company to like tweak it and make like, as long as you don't mess with the core like tables, the front end you can make like mobile apps and all sorts of crazy cool stuff. And as long as the tables, like you can even add additional fields. Like we have so many fields that are in here. In fact, I'll just show, let me pull up the template. But so I've got a couple different things in my head. One is historically, we've worked with like $4 million is like the size of company where it becomes like it's actually costing you money not to work with us, which is kind of crazy. But legitimately, like the amount of money that we can save a company in a year, we're already like in the green and they're off and running and everything's great, you know? And then there's just like, that's just getting you clean data across the board. What our team has been thinking about recently is, because what size revenue are you? Or what will you do in 25?
I'm new. I could sales pitch you, or I could be super truthful, but
Give me the sales pitch first and then be truthful.
we're on target to do 100K this month.
Okay. This will be first year breaking $1 million, or in the next 12-month period, hopefully.
Yes, because we just started this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so like you started 6 months ago?
I started building things. I'm in California. You have to have a contractor's license and all that, but 3 months, man,
Yeah, okay. That's awesome.
of like full on. Yeah.
And you're already up to 100K a month?
We're at 50K right now this month. It was like when I did the math, I would land at 104K if everything was going.
What's your current technology that you're using, like including like Gmail, and like what's everything that you got so far?
So GoHighLevel is the CRM. That's all the drips come in and go on. When people leads come in, they get that nurture process. I changed it to where they get one. Hey, we got your information. We'll be calling you soon, and then we make the initial phone call. If they don't answer, then I drag it into the next one. So then it starts that like kind of a nurture. Like it'll start continually reminding them day to day, as opposed to starting that in the first lane. I like to wait till we've made these phone calls and then we get a hold of them, then no harm, no foul. We're not going to keep hitting them with stuff. But anyway, so GoHighLevel, Google Business Suite. Right now, that's how I found you, was building out a production side. And so I thought I was going to use GoHighLevel for that. I'm like, oh no, there's no way.
Yeah. What are you using for estimating?
PaintScout.
Because one of the things that you've done quite a bit of build out with the automations inside of GoHighLevel.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I've debated is larger paint companies, I recommend like getting HubSpot and like some more advanced tools. But for small, and that's just literally because like even like PaintScout CRM or GoHighLevel, super powerful, but like the stuff that HubSpot has is like next level as far as like it's just very like they're bringing all sorts of AI stuff in. You can consolidate all emails, text messaging, phone calls, all the transcripts are recorded. It's all just like very centralized, which is very.
And that was going to be one of my questions to you is why HubSpot versus GoHighLevel, and you're talking about that.
Yeah. So I would say just because what I like about HubSpot is how fast they're iterating and adding very like their AI features and whatnot. And it's also because of my target, which is like 10 million. The ideal is like 10 million and larger are the companies that got really good systems. They have marketing teams. They have all these different specialists, And HubSpot is like the one that, if that's the target, growing it, like you can't outgrow it basically, but you can get into it for like $100 a month. So it's like it starts in very like just the sales hub, but then if you get like a world-class marketing director or manager, they're not going to be like, I don't have what I need. Go High Level is awesome. It's small companies as well. It's a fantastic tool. My advice to small startups is just get an all-in-one system that's like, because technology isn't the limiting factor generally for like scaling companies. Everybody is hoping, in my opinion, from talking to tons of people about this, and then I'll grow to 4 million or whatever. And generally it's like, nope, it's sales, it's management skills, it's hiring, finding the right painters, quality. It's like there's the technology is like very, very rarely.
I started with DripJobs, and I thought we would just stay there, but
Yeah, DripJobs has a number of problems.
yeah, and well, they didn't have like the notification stuff at the front end, which was weird. And then you have to have your phone number through them, and I didn't want to be locked in. I didn't want to have my phone number that all my advertising and I mean, I have outside phone numbers, but I didn't want to have like when you use their QR code
And texting and all that. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm already in a situation now where I decided to move on. Like crap, I have like quite a bit of stuff that has their QR code for their their landing page.
Yeah.
And I mean, but it was my phone number. Like, I wanted to have my own phone number that I could take with me if I need it.
Yeah. What I was going to say is that with what an idea that I've been kicking around for a while, and you could tell me if this is, I just don't know how built out your Go High Level is, that you can make Airtable basically your makeshift all in one, with the exception of like an estimating. You technically could do estimating in there also. I just think PaintScout is, for the cost, it's like, it's a pretty good, it looks super clean. If you did your estimating in Airtable, you still need to have some way to like present and have like a nice proposal presentation.
Yeah.
And so for that, I'm like, PaintScout makes sense to me for that. But one thing I've debated is like, would there be people that want just like an Airtable, like it's your CRM and your production, and there's a base template, and then all you need is to connect to PaintScout.
So let me tell you a story. So, and it's as silly of a thing as it is, what was so hard to pick in a CRM was that we want to use Kanban. Okay. I want a visual. I hate the spreadsheet look. And I wanted to be able to drag the cards and, into the place where they're at. My partner slash girlfriend is the one making phone calls and tracking stuff and all that. And we had to compromise with each other, and it has to look pretty. It has to look good. There has to be ways to have tags that are colorful and like, oh, I need to call this person back, or like something that's reaching out at you. And so the ones that we wanted didn't, the ones that look great didn't have this, and so the compromise was Go High Level, and I made it look as good as we could and have status changes that had like colorful icons and things like that. But it's not, there's other problems with it. But then when I built out the production Airtable, I said, well, let's try this out. So I built a CRM front end just real quick, and I can see how customizable I could have multiple tags or status things, anything I want. I can make it look so great. So that's a long way to say I would love that. My concern was that is it possible to make your phone calls and texting? Texting is an issue. So like drip text, can you do that from Airtable?
So you can integrate like Airtable doesn't have texting like Go High Level does.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that it's like Airtable is basically like a no code database tool. So essentially anything that you want, you could make. It's just a balance. I'm always trying to weigh the pros and cons of like even Airtable itself for smaller companies. My view for a long time has been just use like a spreadsheet or Google Calendar or whatever, and until you hit like a million, just because it's not like you don't have complexity yet. When I got 5 jobs, this month or whatever the number is, it's like just sell, 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 spend every dollar on marketing and hiring, and that's usually the bottleneck. That doesn't mean that you can't, like if someone like you or someone on YouTube, that sometimes we'll get people that schedule discovery calls that have not touched Airtable. But my idea has been for people that are like genuinely like tinkerers, like I would be if I was a painting company owner. Like I do think that if I was going to pick between a blank Airtable base that I customize and a blank spreadsheet, I would just use Airtable because it can grow with me, right? So then there's the other possibility of like, if we make some sort of template that is basically like, and I'm just pulling up a thing to show you because it'll make more sense when you start seeing what I'm saying along with what I'm saying. Just a second.
So I would assume if it can't be done in Airtable, you could maybe have a spot in the record or whatever you call it, but you could just have a link to, if you use some other app for making phone calls and SMS, you can always just like have it visit. You're looking at Airtable, but then you just click the link to go to the spot where the chats are, right? Is that how you would do the workaround?
Yeah, and it's like close enough, but yeah, you're thinking about it exactly the right way. So my thought is that I'm just kind of taking, and this is like real time brainstorming. I don't have anything today to be like, here you go, but since you're interested in it, I had one other person about a month ago reach out, but we just were doing too many other things at the time. And I was like, I don't have this. But anyway, so now there's two of you that I'm like, maybe there is an opportunity here. But basically, across the board with our tables, like each one of these tables, if you look at like jobs, for example, like we have 227 fields in the jobs table. And that might seem like ridiculous, but it's literally thinking through anything that someone might need to build a report off of or track for the results of something. Like it's all in here. And obviously, it would take a long time to, like I said before, this was version 3, really. This is called PaintOS version 2 because we made some significant adjustments to the interface. But PaintOS was like the third iteration of just me playing around with Airtable. Granted, the first one was like atrocious. The second one was a little better. And then the third one is like, okay, I talked to Jason Paris at Aleph and was just like, I did a bunch of consulting and inquiring before committing to all the tables. But basically, we have everything from like invoices, line items, payments, expenses. It's like thinking, how do we do automate all job costing, time logs from QuickBooks Time, other documentation about how everything's set up, commissions, you can track commissions for people, like literally everything that you could imagine needing to track inside of a painting company, we have a table for. So back to the idea of like, if I just start with something simple, the short answer is you 100% could migrate to a PaintOS base at some point in the future, right? That's for sure. You would definitely want to migrate just because it would take a very long time to do. Very long meaning like, I don't know, maybe a week of like some long 6 or 8 hour days of trying to make sure it was all set up. So the idea of like, when we have a company that comes to us now, we'll clone the base, and there's a few customizations that we make, but they're never changing tables or property names. It's always, the customizations always happen in the interface itself. So like for this particular company, a lot of people have different preferences on how they want to manage or like the processes or steps that they do when a job comes in. So like this company wants like an inbox sort of thing where these are new projects that were sold. They're going to assign a start and an end date, and then put in like what were the dates that I communicated with the customer about their project starting. And then like you're kind of like you were saying with texting, like I just put everything, so there's just buttons to quickly open up the quote in PaintScout, open up the work order in PaintScout. It takes you straight to that page or the work or the work order for exactly all the details and stuff, and that's just linking to PaintScout. So anyways, there's that. But then where was I going with that? The Oh, what I don't have, or historically, because everyone has used HubSpot, I just started adding this company's contacts tabs, and then obviously you make like a deals tab, and then that's basically the structure for your CRM. It'd be a simple CRM, granted, it's not going to have all the other communication consolidated. But again, for a small company, if you had companies, contacts, and deals along with this whole other thing, you basically have everything that you would need to make a CRM or to track. I mean, what is a basic level? The CRM is for like tracking all your contacts and how many deals you've had with them. And then for any given deal, tracking like what's the stage of this deal? Is it a lead? Is it scheduled? And working through that. PaintScout also has their own CRM. The thing I hate about, I don't know if you looked at that, they just released it like 2 months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. The PaintScout CRM, you can't customize it at all. What's that?
I was on the beta.
Yeah, I don't know what you think of it, but just from what I've seen, first of all, it doesn't integrate to anything. They don't have an API for it yet. And none of the, if you're like, oh, I want to add another field in my contacts, you can't. It's just you're stuck with whatever their standard fields are. And there's little things like that that just like bug me because, well, yeah, because I like making it making it whatever I want it to be.
It's not usable at all yet. I talked to, is it Natasha? She said that you're going to finally be able to use Zapier to have the lead. Like right now, you can't even get the lead to come out of Facebook leads into the CRM. Not you can't. I mean, that's like the most basic first stage. You have to have. So apparently, that's going to happen any second. But yeah, there's just no way yet.
Like they bit off a big. I was kind of disappointed. I wish they would have gone after making the estimating tool even better and improving work orders and other stuff. But yeah, they're basically, I mean, they're just doing what makes sense for them, which is trying to be what everyone's asking them to be, which is a CRM and all in one, just like DripJobs. So anyways, I guess all this to say, like one of the things that we've built with that is kind of interesting, I think, that is unique is that if you have the basic PaintOS table structure, then we have built a custom integration that I hired developers to make that integrates QuickBooks to Airtable. So for example, if I open up this particular customer's project and then I go into the invoicing interface, I can click on the open QBO customer and it takes me directly to the QuickBooks customer for this particular job. And if I want to make an invoice, I can click, because it's Airtable, you can do all these things where like just make me a final, like all the line items and stuff that I would need to bill out this contract. So it just generated that for me. I can click include this on the next invoice and then create with selected line items. And then the integration pulls that line item. It's going to go make an invoice inside of QuickBooks for me, and then it will actually write back the PDF that it generates inside of QuickBooks back to Airtable. So you could have someone in your office that doesn't have access to your QuickBooks still be able to generate and send invoices. So you can see like it's populating right now. It just got done making it. So here's my actual PDF of the invoice, and it gave the link to pay digitally if they wanted to do that. And then I can also hit send, and it just sends the invoice, all sending from QuickBooks. So we're not actually housing or becoming like an accounting tool. We're just integrating with the API of QuickBooks and allowing the user to like do whatever they want inside of QuickBooks without ever going there. But again, if I wanted to, I can open up that QuickBooks customer and the invoice that I just made is right there.
So could you do something like that with communications tool? Like so QuickBooks is to financial records and record keeping and all that. There could be some sort of communications, SMS and phone stuff. And I wrote down button and then SMS notifications question mark. Like, could you have a button that went to your communications tool, and then how would you receive notifications that someone texted or responded or that kind of thing, and still stay inside?
Inside of here, we have another coordinator. Like let's say I go open up a project. We have a bunch of like default buttons here for like call contact via RingCentral or SMS via RingCentral. So I can click this. If I had RingCentral installed on my computer, which I don't, it opens up the RingCentral app and it pre-fills it with the contact's phone number that like a.
Is that an API that is?
So like, does that make sense?
I think so.
And that's not even an API. That's just the structure. It's called a deep link into RingCentral. So like you can take, if you can see it's not showing on your, because I'm sharing the window. I wonder if I can just.
Are you in the West Coast? Are you in Portland?
I'm in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we are Pacific time. All right. So once this thing pops up, I'll show you. But basically, there's a link that, like a link structure, and most apps have this. where it's just called a deep link into their application instead of.
So it's not an API or like a webhook. It's a different thing.
Yeah, you don't have to. It just is like a URL that redirects it to the login. Almost there.
The thing, one of the negatives about with GoHighLevel is that they have their own lead connector or whatever it's called for the phone. So now instead of it being like Twilio, where you can kind of go anywhere, they integrate with Twilio somehow, and it's so I don't, if I want to take my phone number, say I wanted to go HubSpot, I think I can keep the phone number, but I don't know. See.
I am pretty sure, by the way, that if you're with GoHighLevel, we just had someone migrate last weekend actually from GoHighLevel to RingCentral for their VoIP, and they don't like. In fact, I'm almost positive that DripJobs.
DripJobs is Twilio.
I don't think that any company is allowed to like hold phone numbers hostage. Like they have to.
I asked them directly, and they said no, but maybe they.
Oh, really?
Yeah, maybe they would have to.
Yeah, I could have sworn that they basically like any company, because they don't own the number, they're just like paying the registration or whatever to Twilio.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, theoretically, I guess maybe they had you sign something that you didn't know or something in their terms that's like you can't have this. Okay, I finally got in, so I'll show you what happens here.
Well, the other reason I didn't like DripJobs is because they kind of make you have to go through the steps the way they want you to, and when you'd have to estimate on their estimating tool. But I was using PaintScout, so you have to like create a fake.
Oh yeah.
If you want to create a little mini CRM, and I'll work out the bugs for you.
The one thing, what I'd probably end up doing is selling you the template that we have. And then because I don't have a thing to set on like the CRM built, that's where it's like, if you're interested in using the CRM piece, you could make that with some, guidance or whatever, or research on the best way to do that. Come on.
If I just had them to like the Miro, like the map, like these are the essential pathways and start.
I can even share the Miro map that I have with you, though, for like ideas. The big thing is that it's all like set up for the 5 or so apps that everybody uses, which includes HubSpot. You can book me. If you're doing it all inside of Airtable, it still is like relevant. It's just going to have to be modified to match that use case. There's going to be triggers and things that are going to be slightly different. Okay, let me share my entire screen now. If I click the open contact via RingCentral, now it's going to open up, and now it pre-filled with the number to dial, but it hasn't actually dialed it yet. Then there's the SMS via RingCentral, so I click that, and now it's taking me to the text portion, and it even says, because I pre-filled this in Airtable, Fred, which is the guy's name, I have a question for you, and then I could keep typing, and you could customize it to be like, pre-fill with my, hey, whatever message. So it's not a full automation, but it is kind of nice that it's more, I love finding out little hacks like this, because it's all like, it's the least. And the thing that's crazy is that if you can see now at the very bottom of my screen here, when I'm hovering over this, I'll copy the link address and put it in the chat here. This is like the structure for RingCentral. So that what I just put in the chat there, you say RC app and then this string of code. And that's what makes it open up the RingCentral app and pre-fill it with the phone number and then the content that you want, if that makes sense. There's no integration necessary. I just click a button and it pops up. And then the same thing, like I love doing stuff like that for like desktop email to customer. I can click that and it's going to immediately open up my Gmail with the email of the person. It's blind copied into my CRM HubSpot so that I can track the email in there. And I could, if I wanted to, have a preset subject that's like Boolean painting, whatever, and even have like a standard body that I want to have filled out. So there's like all those, that's like a little quick, easy hack to have open up other apps to do things like that. And again, this is what I'm showing you here. This is still production management, but you could have the same exact concepts or buttons in the CRM side of things. You know what I mean?
What about the nurture stuff? The timing for automation of emails and texts that go out for follow up. Could you do that through Airtable?
So short answer is yes. You could do everything could be done through Airtable. The tricky part is like, no, it's not even that. It's just like, I mean, if you didn't spend much time on it, it would be clunky. It's just always the balance in my mind of the cost of building it yourself versus paying a cheap subscription to some tool that has like focused on that thing. So I'm always thinking like best of breed, like PaintScout. They're a great estimating tool. Now they're kind of stumbling into being an all-in-one, which is sad for everybody. But that was like their thing was estimating. And then like RingCentral is best phone, Gmail. Like there's all these things that are just, of course, someone could put it all into one, but it's not that hard if your apps that you pick integrate. It's not that bad. So, anyways, yeah, I have to think through this process because what I'm thinking is that if you just because I'm curious because I we haven't sold anything like this, what would you say like because I'm thinking that I don't know if I would even give someone the template if there wasn't some amount of hours included to like consult and help you not use it incorrectly because there's just so much stuff going on and we have all these automations that we built. A developer on our team a handful, maybe a couple days to get it all like configured and set up to like get the value out of it. But if I just like copied it and sent it to you, obviously anyone could like try to backwards engineer what's going on, but it would be way, I guess I would be hesitant to sell it to someone with no like, here, let me help get this off the ground for you at least. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're getting like this really detailed thing.
A Ferrari with no gas in it.
Yeah, or an engine maybe or something. No steering wheel and pedals or whatever. That's like, oh, if you just would have put it here, then you would have been fine. You know what I mean? But I'm curious, what do you feel like is a with other things that you're researching, how much would you be willing to pay for something like this?
Define this. Like you showed me a whole bunch of stuff. Like you showed me. So are you talking about the OS, or are you talking about the?
Yeah, good question. And I don't know what the scope of it because again, I've never sold this to anyone outside of a client. So when we work with like a $5 to $10 million painting company, we're putting together a full package that's custom with like we're helping you migrate all of the tools to the ones that you need. We're integrating them all together. We're building out the automations. We're training your team. Like we're taking on like this is going to be a successful implementation. In this situation, my thought would be that I would clone the PaintOS base, which is all of the tables and the data structure, which we spent a bunch of time to make, and the interfaces comes with the cloning. So like our standard interface structure you'll get, which I think is great for again the production side. I don't have the CRM interfaces built, but you could easily do that and make like a separate thing for your sales guys to like and there'd be some thinking through I want to tie my CRM to like go generate a paint scout quote but that's an easy zap that you could do and this is all like in probably like as I'm thinking through this the goal would be for me like in the next 3 months or 6 months I would actually like make a bunch of videos. Hey, if you want you can buy this thing from me, watch the course for setup, but none of that exists yet. So the in the short term it would be me or someone on my team has to like walk you through what eventually maybe videos would do for you to like get it functioning. But right now there's no CRM. In my mind, I'm thinking if I could come up with something that's like a $5,000 to $10,000 package to get essentially a customized production management, potentially the future for a CRM that's not built yet. That could be something that someone wants. And then if you wanted to add the integration of the QuickBooks thing, that's just a subscription that you would pay if you want that piece to like have all of your QuickBooks stuff.
It's a subscription through you guys, or
We built we built the integration directly from Airtable's API to QuickBooks API. And that's just that piece. Like if someone was like, I don't care about QuickBooks, like the Airtable thing works on its own. And you could like make some zaps to like generate invoices. But what I'm excited about is that the QuickBooks piece is like really, it's just like very fluid. Like all of your expenses, your customers, your vendors, it's all just like syncing back and forth all the time. And so you're basically getting all the data that you need to automate job costing in your Airtable base.
I'm not there yet, even that. And so it sounds like your idea is great as like a middle ground. You know, you say like we're better for someone who's 6 to 14 million. Maybe this is the $2 million guy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the 2 to 3 million, and he can get in and get started, and then you build this out completely when they're running, you know, a bunch of salespeople, they're running a big operation. I am fatally a DIYer and cheap on certain things. Like what you pointed out in the beginning, you know, you're like, just use a spreadsheet for the first bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm past that, you know, or I maybe just because I'm a tinkerer, I'm past that. What I wish you had was, I guess your issue is that you got to take people from here to, you know, to here. And you're saying if someone is using anything other than what you've already designed as your OS, it's going to be a big integration mess.
Unless it's simple, like if you just have like jobs, contacts, you know what I mean? Depending upon how complex of a base you make, then it just gets harder and harder to migrate.
When I said integration, I didn't mean integration. I meant, what's the word?
Migration.
Migration. Thank you. What I wish you had was like a super basic, like where you took out all the bells and whistles and you just had like, you know, the real necessary stuff.
Basically just like a fancier sheet.
Yeah, with
an interface.
Yeah, just like the bones of your structure. And then if it was actually something that came from you, it sounds like you could migrate it very easily because all the everything that was in there would be in the right place. It wouldn't be in the wrong place. And then you could add on all the other stuff and it would be a migration, like a simple migration. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're saying like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The thing that we've wrestled with internally is what is the basics, you know? Like how, and because it just is like everything else is like, oh, you could just add that. And then I'm not saying that there isn't a basic. It's just hard for us once, like,
That's
I
why
know
you have
too
an
much,
automation company.
you know?
You can't help yourself.
Yeah.
And you know how to do it. So you can't hardly stop. And actually, to be honest, that's actually what's happened to me. Like, you know, like I get flack all the time. The fact that I mentioned the word another CRM, I'm like, dude, like, you know, this is like the third thing
That you switched. Yeah.
She's screaming at me right now, whatever she's saying. But no one wants to hear about another CRM, and I tend to chase those shiny objects. But I know I could do so much better than what I have, and it just kind of drives me to keep looking for like how to improve a little bit. And the other reason I get flack is because it's kind of a hobby almost. It's like this is the part I enjoy about starting the business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
making it your own.
Yeah. And so what I really want, what I wish I could have is, and what I was trying to, you know, see if there's a way to get from you or through you or whatever, would be formulating the bare bones basics, you know, the minimal stuff that you would need that is a teeny tiny version of your big one and sort of takes in the best practices. I mean, even stuff like naming, nomenclature, or whatever, like, you know, the way you use terms for, you know, interior painting, exterior painting, cabinets, like all that, like just sort of like all the basics, like here's the best practices of how to do it. And then I have a Miro work, like I just designed what I wanted in GoHighLevel, and then I took it from there and I was trying to drag it into a column, and then that was going to spit it to the production line. And I was, you know, but I don't like the production side of it. I hate their calendar when I have to try to have a secondary calendar, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, so yeah, I was trying to design the production side, but if I could, like, I added just a CRM, just sort of the basic drag into each column, and to be able to have like visual status or, you know, tags and stuff, just to track and say, hey, what do we need to do on this particular customer? Do they just all the callback stuff or, you know, schedule, just whatever you need to know about that person is very visual and obvious. It's real simple. It's basic. I know I could build that out, but I just know there's a much better way to do it. And then you're the guy.
Did it open up Airtable? The link that I just sent you.
Okay, yeah, Airtable.
So if you click on the top left where it says PaintOS v3.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I'm just curious, can you like edit anything right now? You shouldn't be able to, but just like if you try to do anything, is it just viewing it?
Yeah, I think I'm in view mode.
Okay, so click the top on the Paint v3 thing.
Okay.
And then click the three dots.
Okay. Duplicate.
And duplicate. And then just name it your own and don't duplicate the records.
Okay, so it says duplicate records. Unselect that, and then
Yep, there you go. And then just move it to whichever. You will want a paid workspace. You can put it into an unpaid workspace, but you're going to want to have a paid one later, or if you don't already have one.
this is my first workspace. Should I just put it there?
Yeah, that's probably where.
It says that external.
Yeah, it's because external to me. So.
Okay, so duplicate base. All right, I think it's done.
So now if you go back to or hit the back arrow on the top left.
Okay.
And then you should see servers one.
Yeah, it's there.
Refresh the page. Then go to workspaces.
So do I hit a plus?
No, just the side.
Yeah, there it is. Those are 3 orders.
There's the one. So click on that one. So yeah, basically, because what you get what you ask, I would say, here you go. Good luck. I'm curious what copy. If you go to the view data, at the very hit the drop down there.
Okay.
And click view data, and then go to automations. Oh, yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff in there, but I would say if you're wanting to just do it on your own, like there you go, have at it. And the only thing I would ask is obviously don't copy it and start giving away to other people. But if you if you find it useful, you can send me back some feedback or whatnot. I guess I'm kind of curious, like
you've just thrown someone in the lake and you're like, here's a sponge.
well, I'm just saying, like, yeah, I know that it's complicated, but if you're like, yeah, I don't have something simpler.
No, I know what you just did, and I'm unbelievably grateful. When I was not throwing you under the bus, I understand this is insane, but I'm like looking around. This is very it's complex. It's a lot. So, what is your advice on how to create the sort of that CRM front end? I know you mentioned like the tabs, companies.
Yeah, honestly, what I would probably do is if you haven't, or since you're new to Airtable, is what I'd probably do is just continue using GoHighLevel.
Mm-hmm.
And then just when you win a job in GoHighLevel, kick it over to the jobs table inside of PaintOS. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Is this something that how can I screw this up pretty easily, or not? Not really.
I mean, what you could always do is you could make another copy of this one. So
Yeah.
now you've got 2 copies, and you could always just go back to the original, you know?
Uh-huh.
But like if you click at the top there and just click clone it again, like at the end of the day, it's like it's now copied. You're not going to mess anything up on our end.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing would just be one other thing, go to automations really quick.
Okay.
And then,
I mean, beyond what I understand this to be, I also the ability to look around at automations and how things are worded and is like a huge learning.
go down to where it says when job comes in, do stuff.
When project is,
It's a little bit higher up.
are you looking at my screen?
Yeah, it's right.
Oh, stuff. Got it. Sorry.
And then click on the Google Street View one.
Oh, to the left.
No, middle of the screen, the purple box at the top of the workflows there. So if you could just delete the API key, I didn't premeditate this at all. So
Yeah.
just take that in the code there, delete the API key.
Okay. Just the part.
Yeah, just like you can leave the quotes, but just take out the in between the quotes there. No, you can leave the rest. Just literally just if you double click on the
Like right
depth
here?
portion, yeah, right there, and then leave the single quotes.
Okay, now just
like XXXX for when you get your own API key there.
why isn't it?
Click edit code. Sorry, first on the top right there, and then it'll let you do it.
All right. So right in between that right there.
And I want to say I actually made a video on my YouTube channel of how to get your own Google Maps API key. But that's just like a silly fun thing to like get street view images of the addresses that you put in there. And then there's a bunch of stuff there for like Prismatic, which you never use. You could delete all those probably, all the ones that say inactive, because that's not going to be relevant if you're not using any of the things that like that's our integration that we built. And then there's so much stuff in here, but I would say the main thing would be where you're going to want to hang out is jobs, projects, people table. And I have other videos of like explaining the concept behind the structure on my YouTube channel. But yeah, the only thing I would say, like, I guess the experiment that I'm interested in is go ahead and like spend time trying to figure it out. I would not be surprised, and I don't mean this in like a condescending way. It would be very plausible to me if in like a week you were like, dude, I gave up and I just made my own. But then that's like that could very likely happen. But the other thing that I'm thinking is like there is a route. It just requires more planning on my end. And the biggest risk that I have in giving anything like this to anyone is that you get frustrated, give up, and then it's like in my attempt to be helpful, I just like overwhelmed you and then you go searching somewhere else, you know?
I don't think I can figure this out. I think so to straight up honest, I think I imagine what I'm going to get out of this, you pushing this over to me, is I can look through all the stuff and kind of reverse engineer what it does, and maybe like give me an idea, like, oh, I could maybe do that one little thing in my simple version. No, maybe
The thing is that I would say there's just a lot of tables that you're not going to use is what the gist of it is.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is people where you put all of your employees, jobs where you put new projects that come in. Projects are childs of jobs. So like if you have a multi-project type job, you can
Mm-hmm.
put one project for each. But yeah, I would say if nothing else, yeah, it gives you some ideas. And then there is always the possibility that in the near future we put something together that's more of like a course to get this off the ground. This what I just cloned for you for larger paint companies. Granted, this is one of like 7 things that we're doing in their business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like our packages are close to like 6 figures for big, like for a $7-8 million painting company.
Yeah.
And that's because it includes everything you could imagine that you'd need to ensure, like when you're that big,
Success using all these.
yeah, a mistake on an implementation of something is way more costly than any
Yeah.
cost that you'd have to pay to make sure that it happens successfully.
Yeah.
There's other videos I'm going to be putting out. I still like the last several months I've been pulled into a bunch of client stuff, but I'm getting back to like going through Airtable and just like things that I think are valuable. But I mean, for hopefully this was got your wheels spinning in some way. And then, but the other thing to keep in mind is that
How can I see it
all of
again?
our clients use the interface. They like our clients do not interact with the data tables because the interface is basically the app.
This is the table, not the interface.
Yeah. So when you go to the interface view, that's when like it's not as the tables look overwhelming, but it's like, well, I mean, you just got to use the coordinator view, and that's where all of your projects would go when they come in.
Yeah. Where is that?
On the interfaces at the top.
Oh, gotcha.
Stay in touch. You can send me emails. If there, I don't know how much more time I'd have to just give like free consulting, but if you've got like insights for me, please send them over. And then I'll keep you posted if there's like, hey, I have this new thing or a course or a package or something. I'll let you know. And then obviously I'll be putting out videos on YouTube so you can keep an eye on that. And if something piques your interest, then reach back out. And I have in the back of my mind creating something that's like ultra simple, but I do also feel like the best path in my mind is to make like a 10 video series on like how to set up Paint OS and then just ignore all the stuff you don't care about, you know, because it would be better. Like having extra tables doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
It's just like you don't have job costing, you don't have time tracking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you're not using it for that, it's still better to have the structure there for at some point in the future when you want to turn it on.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So this would be like if in 2 years you continue to grow, if you're at least using jobs, projects, and people, for example, it's going to be easier to turn on other stuff.
Right. Would you be interested at all in like feedback on what a simple, from my perspective, what a simple version of this would be, or like what's essential toward, to people that are just starting to $1 million a year?
Yeah, you can send me over emails that, or like what I'm really curious is like when you are like, what are the questions that people that are figuring out Airtable are wondering about Airtable?
Yeah, so like what kind of content should you put on YouTube?
Like what's the stuff that you're like trying to wrap your head around? Like, I just don't get like what is and what's the words that you use? Because that's the content that I'm making. Like I just made a video on relational databases in Airtable,
Mm-hmm.
which is like ridiculously powerful. Smart Sheets doesn't have it. Google Sheets doesn't do that. Neither does Excel.
Like it's the reason that you use Airtable, right?
Yeah, it's like the number one thing. But like people don't know the term relational database. It's just like a crazy powerful thing.
I know it because of you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, good luck, Jamie.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Keep me posted.
All right.